Alright guys, been tuning on the carburetor about half the day on the Regal today. It was actually turned out to be, I think it was mid-50s today. Pretty happy with it. So anyway, I did a little bit of work to my carburetor, a little bit more tuning, and I've got it running really good now. Before it was kind of running out of fuel, so I fattened up my secondary jets, and now it is, I actually have 76s in there now. I have 68 primaries and 76 in the rear, and it was still pulling really hard, so I'm really happy, because before it just kind of planed out a little bit. You can kind of tell it was running out of fuel, so that up in the jets in the rear is definitely a step in the right direction. Now I don't have an air fuel gauge. I do have a multimeter, so I'm kind of thinking about putting a bung in it maybe, but it's not that big of a deal really. I'm going to go up 2 more sizes to a 78 in the rear, and I'm going to take it out and try, and if it takes it, I'll leave them in there. If it doesn't, I'll put the 76s back in it, and then I'm done. I'm kind of tired of taking the carburetor apart at this point. But anyway, on my last run a while ago, I took it out here down the main side road that's paved over here, and I got up to about 45 miles an hour, and I drove for a little ways, and I basically just shut it off and coasted off the side of the road. And I pulled a spark plug with gloves on, of course, and I am very happy, because that's what I got. Paper sack brown. I am very happy about that. I just now pulled it again, obviously, but I kind of want to see what it would do just idling through the housing addition, but it's still pretty much the same. But so I'm happy. So now it's definitely running better on the top end for sure. And I'll tell you the other thing I did. It's an old school trick. It's actually in one of my Holley books. It's not a book by Holley, it's a book by somebody else. I don't remember who the author is. It's an older book. It's how to tune and modify your Holley. This thing would melt your eyes. Like if I was in the garage with the door up, it would just melt your eyes. And even it'd make your clothes smell if you walked around behind it, even sitting out here idling. Now when if you put a lumpy cam in something, and you have a Holley carburetor, it's going to be pretty fat at idle. So what Holley recommends you do is open up your secondary butterflies a little bit to let more air in. And I tried a different method because I had the rear float bowl off, so I just went ahead and popped the front bowl off. That way I didn't have to take the carb off. However, looking at this again, I may not have had to take the carburetor off, because it looks like the little screw for your adjustment is right there, and it looks like with that intake I might be able to get in there with a pocket screwdriver. But I fixed it, so I don't care. And this is how I did it. It's basically what it was saying was on your primary jet plate, your front jet plate, metering plate, whatever you want to call it. These little slots are right here. He was basically saying get you a piece of wire and put it in there, and you need to bend it so it won't keep going up in there or whatever. So I basically bent it and put it like a horseshoe style bend on the head that fits down in that pocket so it won't go anywhere. But what I did was I took a full-length piece out of my wire brush, full-length piece, and then I folded it completely in half with a pair of pliers where it was a tight bend against itself, and I did it that way. So it's actually the thickness of 2 of these, and this is a really thin wire on that brush, but it fixed it. It's a lot better. I mean, you can kind of still smell a little bit, but nothing like it was. I mean, it would burn your eyes. But anyway, that definitely helped. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm happy with it now. Before it was just too much. But anyway, I gave it 2 more degrees of timing, and I need to take it back out and run it again. But I think I'm done at this point. The sun's starting to go down, so it looks like it anyway, unless it's getting cloudy. And I'm kind of got a little bit of a headache from messing with gas all day, so it still had that the hesitation in it a little bit, so that's why I put a little bit more timing in it, see if it'll take it out. It still, when you shut it off and you reach back in and hit the key like 30 seconds later, it still fires right off immediately if there's no cranking to it. So it would actually probably take a little bit more timing, but I don't really want to advance it to where it's kind of hard to crank. I kind of like to have it where it starts nice, but I got to tell you, with as cold as it's been lately and cutting that choke horn off, it is very cold natured. You kind of got to sit out here and babysit it a little bit before you can you know, take your foot off the gas and leave it off, you know what I mean? It tries to die. So, but once it starts getting some temp in it, it'll stay running. So anyway, guys, I want to put the plug back in it and put up my tools, and I think I'm done for the evening, but I'll be back out here again tomorrow on it. But I'm pretty happy that wire trick in the primary metering fixed the rich idle condition, and then fatten up the secondaries really, I mean, it was an amazing difference. That's why I'm kind of thinking I'll go up 2 more sizes to a 78 in the rear. Anyway, that's what's going down. So I'll keep you all posted. Oh, I think I'll tomorrow as well. If you watched the video the other day of me taking the test drive and the camera was shaking up and down, probably give yourself a headache watching it. That's the camera mount that I made, and my phone fits down in there, and you push on it, and my cover that I have is actually rubber, so it fits in there and it kind of pops in and stays. But this is why it was rattling around. I don't have a headliner in the car yet, so I used an existing hole that was up here, and there's another one right behind it. That one, those are actually for the map light setup, I think. This just has the standard dome light. But anyway, so I'm going to build a little bracket and weld it to the back of it and put a little tab on it and put the screw in there to hold, you know, weld the bracket down here to where it's got a second place to hold it. And I'll try it that way. Surely it won't be as bouncy as it was. I mean, I realize it's going to have a little bit, but it's got to be better than it was the other day, I hope. But anyway, if I get the camera mount figured out, I'll take y'all for another test drive and see how it goes. But anyway, I'm signing off for the night because so far everything's kind of went well.